I'm Dr. John Harper, and I'm here speaking with Pearl DeAnda. And Pearl, tell me a little bit about the kind of problems you were having before you came to our office.
Well, I was having problems with my knees. They were both hurting, and I had a hard time walking, going up and down the stairs especially. I fell down one time, part way down the stairs, and Sam caught me, so I did go all the way down, so that was good. And then I had trouble with my back, and I've had trouble with my back for a long, long time now.
Okay. And when you came to the office, were we thorough about your evaluation, and did we explain things in a way that made sense to you?
Yeah, I think we did.
Good, good.
I asked a few questions that I didn't know about, and they said did, and we got on pretty good.
Good, okay. And now that you've had the treatment here for a few months, how you doing now?
I'm doing fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're able to walk up and down stairs, and your back's feeling good?
Mm-hmm.
Great. And Pearl, how old are you?
I'm 93.
93. So at 93 years old, you can actually still heal. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, surprised.
Right. And was anybody recommending shots or surgery or anything like that for your problem?
Oh yeah, they always do.
Yeah, yeah. And so one last question: if somebody was thinking about coming here but maybe hesitant or not sure if it was going to work, what would you tell them?
I'd go here.
Come here.
Yes, I will.
All right, very good, Pearl. Well, I want to tell you something, Pearl. I don't have too many 93-year-olds that come in here, but I want to tell you I'm really glad you did, and I sure appreciate you.
So am I. Very happy I came here.
Great. Hi, I'm Dr. John Harper from beautiful Oceanside, California, and I'm here with Gail Stevenson from Escondido. And Gail is going to share some information with us about her health and changes since she's come here. Gail, do me a favor. Could you tell me a little bit about the issues you were having prior to coming here and what kind of treatment you had before coming here?
I'd be happy to. I had severe chronic plantar fasciitis. I'd had a blood clot, I had bad knees, sciatic problems, and a lot of neuropathy.
Okay. And what kind of symptoms did you have with the neuropathy?
It was burning, it was needles attacking my leg and foot to the point where I was so restless, sometimes I would just have to go to sleep to escape it. I had tried regular medications from my doctor, my primary, and the side effects were terrible. Yeah. So I try not to take anything like that.
Okay. And then you said you had a shot for the sciatica as well?
Yes. They gave me, I went into the hospital and they put me under and they gave me a shot into the sciatic nerve, and it didn't affect me at all.
No. Okay. All right. And how did you happen to come to our office? How did you find us?
Good old Facebook.
Yes.
You just never know. And the thing that caught me about the Facebook advertisement was it listed all the medications that I had been on for the plantar fasciitis, the neuropathy. And I just went, whoa. I've been told there's nothing else that can be done. Okay. And so my husband, being the analytical one in the family, started researching Dr. Harper and the process, the equipment, and his license.
Everything, huh?
We did everything. So when we came to the first seminar, I came in a scooter and I was sitting on ice during the entire lecture. Yeah. And in pain, and I haven't been in the scooter in his office since.
Fantastic. Yeah. I will never forget the third day that we had you scheduled, and I was used to seeing the scooter parked in the hallway, and I come back from lunch and no scooter, and I thought, oh my gosh, what happened to Gail?
Gail.
And yes, and Adriana leans over and she goes, Dr. Harper, she doesn't have the scooter today.
No.
I got tears in my eyes because I knew how bad you were suffering, and to know that you were already doing well enough to walk around a little bit was really great. So
I think it's given me some hope that the doctors had just basically wiped out. I had been through physical therapy, I'd been through cortisone shots, I'd been through that back procedure, and nothing was giving me relief.
Right. So then after the workshop, you came in and did the evaluation to see if you
Yes.
could qualify for the recovery program. And as I was going through the evaluation and I did my report with you, were we really clear about what the underlying cause of your problem was and what we needed to do and the time and the finances? Was all that really clear to you?
It was very specific. Yes.
Very good. Yeah, and all in writing, and so everything
Yes.
was very well known.
Yes,
Good.
everything was above board.
Good. Excellent. Yeah. So not going to get past you or your husband. Am I?
No. We signed up that day.
Yes.
Because we had done our research and we felt comfortable with taking the leap.
Great, good. So you had mentioned that you're still having some trouble standing, and but you said that whereas before you had this really terrible pain just even being in bed. How's that doing now?
Much better.
Good.
Much better. The sciatica has definitely settled down. The neuropathy has settled down tremendously.
Great.
Yeah, I still have some issues. I didn't expect 100%, but any improvement is a plus as far as living my life more fully.
Very good. Excellent.
And I am able to do a lot more things, and I'm very thankful.
Great, good. Well, and we're still working on it.
We haven't finished.
Yes, but that's great. Yeah, that's great. So, two more things. First of all, as far as how we treat you, myself, the staff, how would you describe that experience?
Professional.
Yeah.
Very professional, but friendly.
Good.
Your staff is very kind, very thoughtful, very helpful when I need help. Like which room do I go to?
Yes, okay.
I get a little confused.
Okay, sometimes I do too.
And whenever anything unique has come up that's concerned me, doctor has always been available.
Great, very good. So, Gail, one of the main reasons why we do these videos is that when people hear that they can actually get things like sciatica and plantar fasciitis and peripheral neuropathy and these kind of conditions taken care of when they've been told pretty much by all their physicians that nothing can be done and you have to live on these drugs. People get very skeptical, and I don't blame them. If somebody was skeptical about coming in here to see if they qualified for one of my recovery programs, what would you say to them?
I would say you would be honest and tell them whether or not you could help them. We have heard you break that news to other people that may be too far advanced or out of the realm of what you do. But you give it 100% if you can help them. And for that, after my primary basically washed their hands of me, I appreciate so much. There are new sciences coming out that I think so many people just aren't aware of. And my husband, as I said, is very analytical and he does a lot of research. And I have found that this has been helpful.
Great, very good. Well, thank you very much, Gail. I really appreciate it. I am so glad that you're doing better. You're quite the lovely person, and I'm always so happy that
I appreciate you.
Yeah, very good. So thank you very much, Gail, and have yourself a real pleasant day.
Thank you.
Thank
You too.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Harper from beautiful Oceanside, California, and I'm here with Gary King from Temecula. And Gary wanted to share his experience in our office with his great recovery with peripheral neuropathy in our office. So, Gary, tell me a little bit about the symptoms that you had before you came into the office.
I had numbness in the tips of my toes that started working progressively back through the rest of my feet, and it was really agonizing. It was tingly, burning numbness, which I guess are the symptoms of peripheral neuropathy.
Okay. And was this affecting your life in any way?
Yeah, it was causing me to just discomfort every waking hour. The only time I was okay was when I was sleeping.
Okay.
Every waking hour it was painful, and I wasn't a happy guy.
Okay, right. And you'd done to some other doctors before you came to our office?
I went to my doctor, sent me to a neurologist, and they prescribed drugs, which none of them worked. And then I tried a supplement off the internet that didn't work, and then I tried a cold laser boot and it didn't work. And
Yeah.
finally, I was lucky enough to hook up with you
Okay, good. And how did you happen to find us?
on an ad you put on Facebook.
Okay. And then you came to one of my workshops?
Correct.
Yeah. And so what was it about my workshop that made you think that this was something worth trying?
I could tell that you weren't, that you knew what you were talking about, and that you were a straightforward guy, and with everything that you laid out, and I was at the end of my rope. I had to try something, and
Right.
you seemed to be to fit the bill for me.
Good. Yeah, I remember that first meeting. You were one desperate guy. You were very concerned about your, not only your health, but your ability to support your family and to keep working. And
Yeah,
you
I've got a lot of years left to support my family, and I needed help.
right. And so when you did come in, first of all, did we do the things we said we were going to do? And no surprises or no weird things when I said I was going to do my exam and some x-rays and tell you if I could help you or not?
You guys were very timely with everything you did.
Yeah. And we did no surprises, right?
Nope.
Okay, great. And so then you came into the office, and you after we did the evaluation and I gave you the packet that says this is what we need to do and this is the time and the money and all that. When you made the decision to get started with the care, here we are 4.5, 5 months later. How are you doing now?
Great. I've lost 40 pounds. I'm looking and feeling much better. My feeling in my feet have gone from, on a scale of 10, from 2s and 3s to 6s and 7s.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping going forward with the proper diet and exercise that you've shown me, I'll continue to improve.
Great, that's good. So if a lot of times why we're doing these videos is because people are very skeptical, and I don't blame them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like yourself, they go to all these different doctors and try something else and pay for booties that don't do you any good, and,
Mm-hmm.
and these kind of things. So if somebody was skeptical about coming into my office to see if this was something I could help them with, what would you say?
I would say don't do what I did and waste your money on all these things that don't work. And what I really like about you, Dr. Harper, is everything's natural. There's no drugs or surgeries involved. Everything's stuff that's good for you.
Great.
And that's what really worked for me, I think.
Good, beautiful. And just one last question. As far as my staff and how we treated you,
Awesome.
did we show you with respect and
Awesome.
treat you right?
Everybody
and-
was really good.
Awesome, very good. Yeah, that's great. Well, hey, Gary, I'm really happy for you. Like I said, when I met you 5 months ago, I saw the desperation in your eyes and the fear.
Mm-hmm.
And now you come in, you're a good-looking dude now with all that weight off, and you're
I'm
feeling
like a
really
new
good,
man.
you're like the new man.
Yeah.
And then also you said the family's taken on some of these healthy attitudes and changes.
My oldest boy mostly.
Uh-huh.
He's in high school. He's in 11th grade, and he's wanting to look and feel good,
Yeah.
for girls and stuff.
Yeah, good. Well, he's a smart guy,
You
just
know
like
how
his dad.
teenagers are,
Yeah, just like his dad. So, hey, Gary, I want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You're a great
thank
guy.
you.
I enjoy working with you, and I sure hope you have a great day.
Great, thanks.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Harper, and I'm from beautiful Oceanside, California, and I'm here with Joan Gerstein, and she lives in Oceanside as well. And I had asked her if she'd give us a few minutes and tell us a little bit about her journey with us here at our office. So my understanding is, Joan, that you had some health issues. What kind of problems did you have before you came to the office?
Well, I have diabetes too for a bunch of years, and the last couple of years at least, I've had a numbness in the toes of my left foot that's directly related to neuropathy from the diabetes. I've had constant problems with mostly the left leg that my doctor says is coming from the lower spine.
Yes.
And so I had constant 24-hour pain. Sometimes it was dull, but it would wake me up at night, and then it would move around. Sometimes it'd be in my buttocks and my hip, but it was just never gone. And then I also have arthritis in my back that was painful, and after 5 minutes of just standing, I would want to sit down because of the back. And then on my right foot, I broke my foot in my 20s, and I have arthritis on the top of it, and after walking or standing on my feet for 30, 45 minutes, that would start to hurt a lot. And it was really limiting my lifestyle, because now that I'm recently retired, I want to be able to go traveling and stuff. I couldn't do anything like that because I was always in pain.
Okay. And it's my understanding that you met us through one of the workshops that you came to. And I also understand that you had gone to some other introductory things
Yes.
to try and help you explain what they do for try to help you with these health issues. What made you decide to give us a try?
Well, it seemed a little more comprehensive because it wasn't just like machines, it was the whole person. But the other thing, because money is really tight on a fixed budget, for me, it was the fact that you said, for $65, I'll give you an examination and you can try it twice.
Two treatments.
2 treatments, which
Right.
was the whole, lasted like, each one lasted an hour, hour and a half.
Right. Okay. Very good. And you thought that was a reasonable thing to try.
Yes, and that would help me determine. And after the very first treatment and my sample treatment, I walked out of there and the pain that was 24/7 on my left leg had diminished like 70%
Fantastic.
after one session.
After one session. Fantastic. So that kind of gave you some hope that we could help you out.
Yep.
Great. And so tell us a little bit. You've been here for 6 weeks now. And so tell us a little bit about how you're doing.
Well, the pain is gone 99% of the time. Every once in a while it wants to like manifest itself for a minute or two, and I just sort of ignore it.
Right.
And I can stand and walk for hours.
Wow.
My dog is very happy. We're going on a lot of long walks.
Great.
I can stand. I can just do endless housekeeping chores if I choose.
Yes.
And nothing hurts my back. Although I know when I move my back around, I still have the arthritis. And the same thing goes for the top of my right foot.
Right.
So I'm like 1,000% better pain-wise, but equally as good as that is that my energy is back to the way I used to be. I didn't realize I was walking around depressed for a few years, and I'm like full of energy.
Fantastic. Now, I would assume that a lot of people hearing that your energy is so much better is interested in that, especially people with diabetes. Now, one of the reasons why we're doing this video is that because people are very skeptical. They think that, you can't help peripheral neuropathy, you can't help sciatica, you can't help somebody with diabetes get energy and feel better again. What would you say to those skeptical people?
I said it's realistic to be skeptical. My doctor, when I would go to her, she never offered any of these treatments. The most I got for the pain in my leg was to go to an occupational therapist who gives you exercises and stuff, and it helps a little, but it's like I felt like I was a young retiree, and I've been given a life sentence of having a miserable retirement because I have all these years left that now I can play, and I couldn't play. So it's okay to be skeptical, but this is very comprehensive because it includes your diet, it includes the supplement. It's just the whole package.
Good. So you feel like we looked at you as a whole person, not just your feet or just your energy. We took on everything else.
I do not regret coming here at all.
Fantastic. Very good. Well, thank you very much, Joan. I do appreciate that. If all my patients were as kind and generous and funny as you are, it would be even better to be here. With all that, I hope you have a very lovely day, and thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Harper from beautiful Oceanside, California, and I'm here today to let you know that you too can beat peripheral neuropathy, and you can do it naturally. By getting to the underlying cause of your peripheral neuropathy, you can no longer have to suffer from the burning, the tingling, the numbness, the pain that wakes you up at night, the issue of balance, problems walking. You won't have to deal with that anymore. And the best news is, like I said, you could do it naturally. You can do this without shots, drugs, surgeries. You can avoid all those side effects and all the problems that going through those procedures cause. So today we're going to go through what is peripheral neuropathy, all right, what causes it, and best of all, what can be done to get those peripheral nerves healthy again. So before we get into that, I'd just like to introduce myself, let you know a little bit more about me. I'm Dr. John Harper, DC, a doctor of chiropractic. I've been in private practice right here in Oceanside the entire time, since 1986. I have personally consulted, examined, and treated over 7,250 patients. A lot of experience and a lot of way to understand when a patient is suffering, how to listen to them, how to hear their problems, and use those as clues as to what needs to be done to get them back to health. I'm a board member of the American Functional Neurology Institute. There's less than 250 of us in the entire United States. Not only did I have to go to three-day conferences and study through that, I had hundreds of hours of studying online, studying on my own, and then there was a grueling test, 3 hours written test. Unfortunately, no multiple choice, all off the top of my head. Also, there was a rigorous examination of how to evaluate a patient neurologically. I'm very proud of the honor to be a certified member of the American Functional Neurology Institute. I've been granted numerous awards and certifications in my near 30 years of practice. I regularly attend conferences and symposiums to stay on top of the newest cutting-edge treatments for examinations, evaluations, diagnostics, and protocols. A little bit personally, I'm a third-generation Southern Californian, very proud of that. I live right here in Oceanside. I have 4 children, and I actually, at this time, I have 4 grandchildren as well. Very blessed. So, a little bit about my story. Not too many kids growing up say, hey, I want to be a chiropractor. Matter of fact, I didn't even know what that was until I was a young adult. What happened to me is I was very active in sports throughout my grade school, middle school, and high school, and college. And I was on a national basketball team. We played in the national quarterfinals in Phoenix when I was in 8th grade. When I was in 9th and 10th grade, I went to the National AAU Junior Olympics, took 3rd in the discus, setting a California state record at the time. I had many great times in sports, played lots of other things, but what happened is that when I was a kid, about 12 years old, I was climbing on a tree up in Big Bear Lake in California, and I stepped on a dead branch, fell over backwards about 15 feet, landed very hard on the ground, hit my head and my spine very, very hard. People were more concerned about the possibility of a concussion, probably rightfully so. But what happened is that started to recover. I was having on and off back problems. And what was happening is that it was interfering with my enjoyment of life and as a child and learning how to do fun things. And of course, it interfered with my sports. When I got done with my 3rd year of college, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I decided I was going to go work and not spend any more money in school. So I was working in a furniture store carrying furniture and also doing the repairs. One day I was carrying a sleeper sofa with a gentleman. He tripped and accidentally threw the sleeper sofa at me, about 250 pounds coming my way. The way my parents brought me up was to protect other people's property, so instead of getting out of the way and letting it crash into thousands of dollars of other person's furniture, I tried to save the furniture. I literally heard and felt a ripping, like a large Velcro coming apart in my back. I was pretty much down and out. I had to be taken to the hospital. This is back before the days of MRIs. They gave me some shots of morphine. I was able to walk out, but I was one of these guys bent over in terrible pain. Still, about 2 weeks later, my dad took me to a friend of his who was an orthopedic surgeon. And after a couple tests, the orthopedic surgeon said, yes, you have a herniated disc, and we're going to have to do back surgery. Since I still was in a lot of pain, I didn't know of any alternative. I said, okay, let's do that. I will never forget, I was walking out the door, and he says, oh, by the way, I need to let you know that there's a 10% chance that you're going to be paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of your life. Now, that got my attention. And I'm an emotional guy on the upside, not much of a crier. I cried when my grandmother died. I cried when my dog got hit by a car. But I was on the phone talking to my best friend, and I was crying. And as I was telling him my tale of woe, he said, well, hey, maybe you should go see my chiropractor. And I said, what's that? Hadn't even heard of such a thing. And so what he told me was, thank God he didn't say that's a guy who cracks your back, because my back seemed like it was cracked. It seemed like I needed somebody to uncrack my back. But what happened is instead he said, a chiropractor is a doctor that uses your body's natural ability to heal itself. And I said, hey, that sounds great. So I went to Dr. Stephen Sales in San Clemente, and he said, I don't know if I can help you, but if you give 100%, I'll give 100%, and let's see what happens. And it was just this side of a miracle. 2 months later, I was back in work. A month after that, I was back to working out and enjoying sports again. And not only did my back and my terrible sciatica and all the burning I was having in my feet and the tingling and the numbness and the inability to walk, all that went away. What happened is my migraines went away. I had terrible seasonal allergies. I caught colds and flus on a regular basis. And so one day, Dr. Sales gave me a book, and the book was called So You Want to Be a Chiropractor. And I read the entire book, all 180 pages in one night, and the next day I was there at his office saying, where do I sign up? Now, if he'd let me know the rigorous schooling that's involved, I may have changed my mind, but thank goodness I didn't. It's pretty much the same amount of hours as a medical doctor, same amount of hours as an attorney. It's a 3.5-year course year-round, unlike medical school, lawyer schools that are 5 years. They take off their summers. I did not. And then there's a year's internship as well. So that is my story. And why do I share such a story with you? Because I want you to understand, I know what it's like to be a patient. I know what it's like to be suffering. I know what it's like to be going, what is going on? Why can't somebody find out what's wrong with me and fix this problem for me? And I share this with you because I want you to know, I understand. I get it. I don't know your pain and I don't know your suffering, but I do have a very good idea of what's going on and how can we get this taken care of from a patient-doctor point of view. So let's talk about peripheral neuropathy. Now, it's very common. It's a very common disease. It affects about 20 million Americans every single day. That's terrible. And essentially, it's that your electrical wiring of your body is breaking down. Your brain and your feet cannot talk. Your brain cannot talk to your feet and your hands properly, and your hands and your feet can't talk to your brain properly. So let's talk a little bit about that. So as you look right here, and hopefully you can see this clearly, is that what I'm looking at here is that this is the spine, and this right here is a nerve. And this little green flashing light right there, or the little green light, represents the nerve working properly. So what happens is that just like a piece of electrical wire, there's a metal part on the inside and a rubber on the outside. You have this kind of a similar thing with your nerves. Now, there's no wire on the inside, a metal wire, I should say, but there's a chemical wire in there. There's a structure that carries an electrical impulse. Now, the rubber on the outside is fat, and that fat keeps that electrical impulse inside the nerve. So what happens to a person with peripheral neuropathy, the covering is coming off of the nerve. So let me give you an example. We've all used an extension cord. You plug it in the wall, you plug it into a lamp, and the lamp comes on. If you were to unplug that electrical cord and you were to shave off some of the rubber covering off of that electrical cord and then plug it back in, it would probably still work. It would still probably be fine for you, and it would probably be okay. Now, if you were to take that the part of the cord that's been shaved off and put it in water and then plug it in, wow, what could happen? You could have a short, you can burn up the lamp, you could blow out the where you plugged it in. That's not going to work. And that's what's happening in peripheral neuropathy. It's like somebody's shaving off the rubber covering of the nerves, and therefore you can't carry the impulse from your brain to your body or from your body to your brain. Because we're not dry on the inside. We're very wet, we're very juicy, like that bucket of water. So my job is to figure out why is the rubber covering coming off the nerves and tell you how to fix that. So here's the nervous system. There's two parts. There's the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system. You can define the central nervous system as the well-protected part. Your central nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord. The brain is covered by the skull, and the spinal cord is covered by the vertebrae. Everything else that you see coming off of the spine, that's the peripheral nerves. Now, the peripheral nerves, as you can see from the lower neck, come down to your arms and down into your hands, and from the lower back down into your feet. But these nerves go everywhere. So you could be having problems with peripheral neuropathy in your feet and trouble going to the bathroom. And you think these are two different things, but they're not. The same nerves that come out of your back that go to your feet are the same nerves that go to your bowel and your bladder. You might be having menstrual problems. You might be having prostate issues. You might be having, if you've got some issues in your hands, you could be having thyroid problems. You could be having voice or swallowing issues, because those nerves that go down to your arms and hands originate in the same place where the nerves go down into your throat. So peripheral nerves, peripheral neuropathy, they have a wide range of problems and symptoms. These are the most common. First of all, numbness, then burning feet, cramping, sharp electrical pains. I hear this quite a bit. Pain with walking. This is very serious. People having issues. Difficulty sleeping because of the leg discomfort. So let's talk about that for a minute. It is so critical to get good sleep. Not only just for your own peace of mind and so people can deal with you, but this is when your body repairs itself. The body is in a constant state of repair. Your digestive system, the lining of your stomach replaces itself every 6 to 7 days. Every 30 days you have pretty much all brand new blood. Every 2 to 3 months you're supposed to have brand new muscles. Every 3 to 6 months you're supposed to have brand new organs. Even your bones are replaced on a yearly basis. Now, it's not like on your birthday the bone fairy comes by and goes, happy birthday, here's your brand new bones. This is an ongoing process that happens all the time when you're sleeping. If you're not sleeping 5 solid straight hours a night, this doesn't mean you get up and go pee-pee or that you wake up and you roll over and go back to sleep. I mean just 5 solid hours of being out. Your body is not replacing itself. It is not repairing itself the way it's supposed to. This is why when patients come to me and they tell me that they're having issues with sleeping, this is why this is the main thing that we get started with. How do we get you to sleep to better to sleep? How do we get those 5 hours so your body can repair itself? Because it can repair itself, regardless of your age. All right? You just saw a testimonial of Pearl. Pearl's 93 years old. At 93 years old, we saved her from back surgery and knee surgery, right? So it doesn't matter your age. It just matters to get to the underlying cause of the problem, because your body will repair itself. Now, also, we have prickling and tingling sensations. People call it pins and needles. Again, very common with the degeneration of wear and tear of the peripheral nerves. Loss of balance and falling. This is so important. The number one cause of death is falling. And I'm baffled by that. It seems like, it should be cancer or heart disease or other problems, and yet it's falls, number one cause of death in the United States. It is so important that we get that fixed. So right along with the issue of sleep, we get jumping on right on there with that falling and from the loss of balance. The way I look at it is, who wants on their tombstone, I fell down, right? I think we'd all like something a little more heroic to be remembered by. And then also we have weakness of the muscles, because the brain can't talk to the muscles well, and then also swelling, because the brain can't talk to the blood vessels and tell them how to work right. So here we go. This is what I'd like you to do. Everything that you know about health, disease, medical treatment, everything that you have collected into your mind over the over the decades that you've been alive. Sorry about that. Pearl was almost around for a century. For the decades that you've been around, and I'd like you to take that and crumple it up kind of like in a little ball of a paper and put it over here. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go off in a whole different tangent. We're going to step outside of that box that you have created, that you think that this is only where health and care and treatment reside. And so what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to change that. Now, at the end of my talk here on this DVD, or on the video here, you may say, hey, this isn't for me, I don't get it, I don't believe it, I don't want to. That's fine, all right? You know, this is America. God bless America for the option to choose what you want to do. But I'm going to let you know something, that as I go through the talk, I'm going to ask you to have an open mind to listen, all right? Can we have that agreement? Great, let's move on. The very first thing that we need to talk about is stepping outside of the box, all right, is that all chronic illnesses have a combination of neurological and metabolic problems. And this requires proper metabolic treatment and proper neurological treatment. See, it's important that we understand this, that you get the idea of what's happening here. So, as we talk about this, your brain, your neurological part of your body, has to talk to your body. Your body is supposed to take the food that you eat and create good, healthy, usable products and keep the system clean in the meantime. So, let's talk about that. If your brain and your nervous system starts to go down for any reason, well, guess what? It can't tell this part of the body how to do what it's supposed to do properly, and this part goes down. Well, if this metabolic can't produce the products that your brain and nervous system needs, and it can't keep them clean, down goes this. And so we have this process of everything going down in a chronic health condition. This is very different than an acute problem. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, but I just want you to understand that you cannot take care of a peripheral neuropathy problem without addressing both the neurological issue and the metabolic issue as well. It just will never work. It won't ever work. Now, the reason why there's always chronic health issue, along with what I just explained, is that these issues are intertwined with each other. So all chronic health conditions have some common threads. Now, as I go through the list of all the things that I take care of in my office, patients sometimes comment, well, he's a jack of all trade and he's a master of none. Well, I'm a master at chronic health conditions because they always have that part of the neurological and metabolic part. And I'm a master at both of those. So let's go through our list here of peripheral neuropathy, thyroid conditions, insulin resistance, diabetes, fibromyalgia, vertigo, sciatica, chronic fatigue syndrome, hypertension, chronic neck and back pain, stenosis, irritable bowel syndrome, insomnia, migraine, and chronic headaches. All these things have common threads. They could be, as far as in the metabolic side of things, there could be anemia, chronic infections, unstable blood sugar, could be adrenal gland dysfunction, hormone imbalances, autoimmune attacks, hidden infections. There could be food sensitivities, medication side effects. Oh my gosh, tons and tons of that. Hypoxia, which is low oxygen. There also could be the neurological imbalances, and this is a decreased firing of the brain and the nervous system. And this is what causes fatigue. This is why the nerves don't work the way that they're supposed to. So let's talk about the metabolic side of things for a moment here. So there's 10,000 chemical reactions every minute inside your body. That just blows my mind. Every time I think of that, 10,000 chemical reactions a minute. The most sophisticated factory in the world doesn't have anything even close to that. So I'm going to take all 10,000 of those chemical reactions and I'm going to break them down into one. You eat food, it makes energy. All right? We're not going to talk about all the other stuff that needs to be done. We're just going to talk about that. So I have a question for you. One system of your body uses almost a full third of all the energy. Is it the endocrine system, the digestive system, nervous system, the immune system, or cardiovascular? Which one do you think it is? Well, guess what? It's the nervous system, of course. That's what I'm talking about. See, brain, spinal cord, and the nerves, they only take up about 7% of the total body weight, but it uses almost a full third of the amount of energy that your body has. So this obviously is a very important system. So you need a proper metabolism, which in turn means energy for a well-functioning brain and nerves. Metabolic problems lead to peripheral neuropathy. So we're going to talk about all of these things here. So let's talk about all the leading causes of peripheral neuropathy. So today we're going to talk about statin drugs. Those are cholesterol lowering drugs. We're going to talk about uncorrected damaged backs and necks. We're going to talk about type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance. We're going to talk about all the reasons that you can have chronic inflammation, like food sensitivities, inflammatory foods in your diet, hidden infections, poor omega-3 to omega-6 essential fatty acid balance because of the diet, high insulin issues, hormone imbalances, and then also there is chemotherapy. So let's talk about the number one cause of peripheral neuropathy. Statin drugs. Statin drugs obviously inhibit the formation of cholesterol. That's what we take them for, right? Cholesterol actually makes up the sheath of the nerve. That's that rubber insulation around the nerve. See, statin drugs also inhibit the formation of the CoQ10 enzyme. What's CoQ10? CoQ10 is very important for your body to make energy out of the food that you eat. If it inhibits the CoQ10 enzyme, that means that the enzyme, the actual chemical that makes the CoQ10 usable in your body, is no longer there. So therefore, you could take all the CoQ10 supplements that you want, and if you don't have the enzyme, that CoQ10 is just going to go out of your urine and your feces. All right? Like I say, then the fish get to enjoy it. So CoQ10 is necessary for nerves to function. Here's a big shock, folks. Statin drugs are the leading cause of peripheral neuropathy in the United States. Right? You must be shocked. You must be sitting there going, well, my physician never told me that. Well, let's move on. See, your physician should have told you that because statins totally increase the risk of peripheral neuropathy in quite a bit. There was a study done from the Neurology Journal. Now, you would think all neurologists would be reading this, right? And it said in May 2002, the Neurology Journal said that statin and cholesterol drugs increase peripheral neuropathy 16 times. That's 1,600%. Now, sometimes we hear numbers and we're not relating to them. So let me give you this here. So there's a thing called retrospective studies in medicine where we can take all the statistics about people, patients, symptoms, problems, and we can look at them. And then we can make some good choices and hopefully good choices, and we can make some predictions about the future. So there was a study done where they looked at smoking and lung cancer. So they came up with this hypothetical guy. So on his 18th birthday, this guy comes up with the idea that he's going to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes every day until he's 68 years old. This is 50 years of 2 packs a day cigarettes, all right? Not a very pleasant thought. From the time he's 68 to 78, how much more likely than somebody who never smoked in their life, how much more likely is this 68-year-old as he moves to 78 years old for 10 years, in the next 10 years, how much more likely is he going to get lung cancer than somebody who never smoked, right? So you might be thinking, oh, well, gosh, that's going to be more than 16 times because everybody knows that smoking causes lung cancer. Guess what? It's less than 10%, all right? It's 0.1 time more likely that he is going to get lung cancer. Does that boggle your brain? Does that freak you out a little bit? That here is a medication that is supposedly supposed to be good for you, that is supposed to do something great like lower your cholesterol, and it's making you sick, and nobody tells you about it, right? Let's talk about that. So first of all, we need to talk, is really cholesterol really the enemy? Is this really what the problem is? So let's talk about that. So why has heart disease gone up dramatically since statins came on the market, right? Even though a huge part of the population is taking these things, heart disease, strokes, heart attacks, all these kind of problems keep coming up. They keep getting worse and worse over the years. Why do countries with chronically high cholesterol have a lower heart rate? In France, very high cholesterol, very low cardiovascular disease problem there. Why do just as many people die with high cholesterol as low cholesterol, right? Heart attacks are killing people, high or low. It doesn't seem to matter. But we've all been led to believe that this is the issue. So you need cholesterol for proper nerve function and brain function. You got to have it. It's the covering of these things. See, cholesterol will never clog your arteries until you're inflamed. Inflammation is the real problem. So let me explain. So when you eat foods or take medication that cause inflammation in your body, inflammation is like little machetes running around the inside of your blood vessels. When you have a cut on your skin, it starts to bleed, and you hope that something's going to happen. You hope it clots, because you don't want to bleed out. So a clot on your skin is a good thing. Now, if you have inflammation and it's these little machetes running around the inside of your blood vessels, and it's cutting the inside of your blood vessels, do we want clots there? Well, no. That's a really bad place for clots, because they can break off and go to your heart, go to your lungs, go to your brain, and cause a lot of problems. So what we want to do, instead of having that, we need something to cover it up. Your brain, the innate intelligence of your body is so amazing that it takes the circulating cholesterol and smooths over that clot. Now, that's a great thing, but unfortunately we keep eating the bad food. See, instead of chasing after cholesterol, we should be talking about avoiding foods that cause inflammation. So what ends up happening is that you end up with these clots being covered up by cholesterol, and then they get more and more and more, and then that could cause a problem. So I let people know when somebody goes and has an autopsy, and the doctor opens him up and says, "Oh, look, he died from cholesterol." All right? Well, that's like seeing a dead bird on the ground, and you see some flies or ants on it, and you go, "Oh, that poor bird was killed by those insects." No, this is an after-the-fact association, right? That doesn't work. So it's really important to understand what's going on here. And the main question that should be in your mind is my last one right here, all right? Why do doctors prescribe useless drugs with such higher health consequences? So you probably already figured this out. A lot of you are saying money. And I agree, but I want to let you know something. I used to think that medical doctors were evil, horrible people, because they would have to be that way to make money by giving all these medications and drugs that they know are causing damage to the patient. They know this, but they do it anyway because of income. But as I became taking care of people with chronic health problems, I've gotten to be a little bit on the inside of a few things, and I want to let you know that it's an amazing thing that I actually have medical doctors who have been honest with me to let me know why they practice the way they do. So on one hand, you have pharmaceutical companies, and pharmaceutical companies only have one thing in mind, is to sell more drugs. So this is why they send doctors to these conferences in the Bahamas and all-inclusive and bring your family type thing, because they want to promote you to sell their drugs. They've gotten into the medical schools. The pharmaceutical companies have gotten into the malpractice insurance companies, and they're telling them what to teach. They're telling them what's medicine and what's not medicine. The practice of how to help people. There's a thing called standard of care, SOC. And SOC says that you have got to only do this. If you do something outside over here, that is medical malpractice. If you have a patient that has high cholesterol and you tell them you should take niacin, which is 10 times more effective and 1,000 times more safe to lower your cholesterol, all right, that's medical malpractice. Can you believe it? It's against the law to tell the person what's the right thing to do. Why? Because if you're buying niacin, you're not taking a cholesterol-lowering drug, and therefore the pharmaceutical companies are losing money. Pharmaceutical companies are the #1 lobbyist in the United States. It doesn't make any sense. Why is a company that just wants to help people need to change the rules and the laws of our country so they can get their drugs out to their faster with less research and also have less of a effect on when they get sued? It just is mind-boggling. Also, on the other side of the physician, you have the insurance companies. Now, the insurance companies, again, you would think would want you to have the very best to get what you need, have the doctors do the right tests and give you the right treatments. But really, what are insurance companies interested in? They're interested in making money. So you have a physician that maybe started off wanting to do the right thing, but on one side you got the drug company, and on the other side you got the insurance company. The insurance company actually is kind of their boss, right? Who writes the check is who calls the shots. So I really feel for physicians now, and the good news is that I don't do any of that, all right? I don't have to mess with anybody telling me what to do or what standard of care. I practice outside of that. Let's just do a little thing here real quick. I'm going to prove to you that the way that you're doing things is, even in your own mind, isn't going to make sense. So right now, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think of 2 things that you could do right now that would make you healthier, all right? I don't mean right now as you're sitting there watching this. I mean right now in your life. So here we go. Here's 5 seconds. You got your 2 things, right? Now, I want you to do this. I want you to smile really big because I'm going to ask you a question. Were either of those things take more drugs? Either of those things? No, they weren't, were they? Yet you think you could get health in a bottle, in a pill, all right? You think that you could take a chemical, throw it in your body, and it's going to make things better. And what I hear from most of my patients is rarely does that happen. And more likely what happens is you get more side effects. So let's tie this all together. So here you have, you're taking this medication for your cholesterol. It causes peripheral neuropathy. You go to your doctor. Your doctor doesn't say, hey, I think your cholesterol drug is causing peripheral neuropathy. You get another pill. You get some gabapentin or something like that. And then you take the gabapentin. And then the gabapentin makes you really tired and sleepy and makes you really foggy. So now you go back to the doctor and you got to take another pill to kind of zip you up and wake you up. But that pill makes you constipated. So now you got to see what happens, right? This last year I had a patient come in. She actually brought in 15 different medications. I asked her, I said, do me a favor. I want you to make 2 piles. Make a pile of the medication that is the original medications for original problems. And then I want you to make another pile of the medications, all right, that you're taking for these side effects from these medications. And she made a pile. Guess what? 6 original, 9 for the symptoms that these other pills are making. She broke down crying. She said, she says, I'm an effing idiot. I can't believe that I'm listening to this doctor just because he's got some letters after his name and he wears this white coat and acts like he knows every single thing. Look at this. This is all from one doctor. 15 medications, all right? This is insanity. Why am I doing this? And that's my same question, right? You may feel that you have to take these things, but that's only because you believe them. Now, I want to be really clear. I am never, ever, ever going to tell you what to do about your medications. That's not legally or morally my expertise. But I will tell you something. The vast majority of my patients, as they go through my recovery program, they don't need their medications. So with their help of going with their physician, they talk about getting off these drugs, all right? I don't want you to ever go off any drug, because of me or anything else that anybody else says, other than having a conversation with your medical doctor. Now, they may resist that, all right? But you need to say, I need scientific research why I should stay on this medication, even though I'm feeling so much better and doing well. All right? Make sense? Great. So, enough of that. Let's move on and let's get to the next part of the talk. So, damaged lower back contribute to peripheral neuropathy, stenosis, degenerative or bulging discs, degenerative arthritis. They all have one thing in common. Common trait of a damaged low back. Your low spine is compressed, placing pressure on the nerves that go to your legs and feet. So again, you can see here's the lower spine, here's the nerves coming off in between the vertebrae, and if there's some problems in the low back, right here you can have problems all the way down your leg. Again, that can affect your feet, your legs, your balance, your walking, your knees, also your bowels, your bladder, your colon, your rectum, all those areas, all right? Now, also, if you have issues in the lower neck, same thing with the nerves that go down to your arms and hands, also your thyroid and your throat. All these areas can have problems. So, what do you do if you have a problem like that? Well, we use in our office called spinal decompression. Now, spinal decompression is one of the many weapons we have in our peripheral neuropathy recovery arsenal program. So as you look here, you see this young lady lying here on the table. If you have the problem in your lower back and the nerves going down to your feet, we put a brace around your waist. There's a cable that's connected to a computer. We put some specific information about you in the computer, and what happens is that this part of the table is on a kind of a sled. It slides back and forth gently. So this will pull on this area. As it gently pulls, it'll pull on the spine very gently. Now, sometimes people say, oh, well, that's just like traction, or that's like just hanging upside down on those tables. Well, let me show you the difference here. So when we look here, these red little balls here, these are the ones that are having the problems. This is where it's stuck. So when you do traction of any sort, you can see the rest of it pulls apart, but the red's not really coming apart too much, is it? So what I do here is with the decompression is it goes right to these areas where you need it. Because when you pull and you loosen up the loose areas, that makes the stuck areas more stuck. When we go here and fix it right here, this is going to allow this area to get what it needs. So just think of your discs as they get dried out and have troubles as an old sponge. So as we're sitting here with this compression, as you pull that apart, that's going to suck oxygen, nutrition, and fluid back into the disc. So just like a plant, a house plant that you didn't take good care of, you give it what it needs, it'll grow back. A lot of times better than it was. So that's the same thing with the disc. And I wanted to show you here, one of the things that we've done is this is one of my patients, Jim. And Jim, a great guy, really great guy. Retired Marine, real good guy, real not the most outgoing guy, but still real gentle, nice guy. And he came in and he could barely walk. He could barely get from his front door to his mailbox. Terrible pain, peripheral neuropathy, tingling, numbness, balance problems, all kinds of really terrible things going on. And so I'm going to show you here that if you look here, you can see where these blue arrows are. That's where there's supposed to be a disc space. And he came into our office and we were taking care of him, trying to help him avoid back surgery and get his peripheral neuropathy and his sciatica taken care of. Here, 5 months later, I took another x-ray. Look at those disc spaces, all right? I mean, it's amazing. Even I was amazed. You know, Jim saw his x-rays and he goes, yeah, sure, doc, I knew you could do it. I was like, wow, look at this, 4 discs all grown back in 5 months. When I was in school, you know, over 30 years ago, we were told this was impossible. But see, the technology and the dedication of the doctors, you know, like myself, you know, has improved, has increased. And so this is why we do what we do. And so this is just incredible. And it was not too long after this that Jim came into the office, and Jim gave me a hug, and he had tears in his eyes. And I said, gosh, you know, what's going on? He said, I had the best day of my life yesterday. So, whoa, what's that, Jim? He says, I went golfing with my buddies for the first time in 8 years. And at first, you know, golf's not that big of a deal in my life. But he said, you know, I had gotten so sick and I couldn't keep up with them that I couldn't golf with my friends anymore. And I went golfing. And I had to laugh because I said to Jim, I said, you know, being in sports, I said, well, how'd you golf, Jim? Oh, it was a beautiful day. Well, yeah, Jim, but, you know, how was your score? Oh, the birds were out, you know, the sun was shining. It was just great. And I caught on. And it wasn't about the score. It wasn't about what was, you know, what he wrote down on the scorecard. It was about the camaraderie. It was about being with his buddies. It was being one of the guys again. And this is one of the things that motivates me. I love what I do. And yeah, it's great when people say, yeah, I'm sleeping better and I feel better and this, that, and the other. But when they come back and tell me, hey, I got to get in a car and drive to go see my grandkids for the first time in 2 years because I could finally make it and I didn't feel like a wreck when I got out of the car. Or, gee, you know, back to some event. Or, oh my gosh, I went dancing with my wife for the first time in years. Oh my gosh, you know, golf's not my thing, but dancing is. Even as a big guy, I'm a very good dancer, and you know, my dance card's full when I go out. And I'll tell you, it's an amazing thing that people could go back and do that, and I just love that. Or, oh my gosh, I picked up my grandkids, or I was walking with my family, or holding the hands of my love, and I wasn't scared I was going to fall down, or I wasn't leaning on him or her. These are the things that are great. These are the things that motivate me to get better and better all the time to help people and find a way that we could help them out. So this is my story about Jim, and I get excited, and I can go on and on and on about all the different patients and all the people we've helped, but this is the juice of life for me. It really is. Diabetes and insulin resistance, all right? Nerves need lots of energy to survive, like we said, and glucose is the nerve's energy source. So insulin is the hormone that lets the glucose get in the cell. So very simply, every cell has essentially a door with a lock, and the insulin is the key that goes in the lock, opens the door, lets the sugar get inside the cell. The insulin knows how long to stay open, closes the door, locks it, gets out of there, no more sugar goes in the cell. Because too little of sugar or too much sugar is really bad for your cells, and the cells is what makes up you. So when you're insulin or insulin resistant or diabetic, what happens is the glucose can't get into the cell, right? And this is why they get fatigued. This is why you feel numbness, burning, pain, weakness, and tingling. Got to take care of that. Chronic inflammation. This is a huge problem. This is where we really shine in the metabolic side of things. So inflammation means to ignite. Actually, in Latin, the literal translation is to burst into flames. And you can't build a house if it's on fire. I am completely baffled why anybody would ever go to any physician and try to have some kind of health issue taken care of, a chronic health problem, without dealing with the inflammation. Inflammation is like the house on fire. And let's say, in this picture, there was somebody over here replacing that window. Let's say there's a broken window and somebody's replacing that window. Why the house is on fire? What would you think about that person? You'd think they're an idiot, all right? There's a huge problem right here, and you're ignoring it, and you're focusing it on this little tiny issue right here. I want to let you know, that's what you're doing. That's what your physician's doing. Oh, here, take this pill. All right, until you deal with the inflammation issue, you're in trouble. You've got to deal with the inflammation. Like I said, it's like little machetes running around inside your body, causing havoc. You don't need that. See, common causes of inflammation that contribute to peripheral neuropathy: food sensitivities and inflammatory foods. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. Poor omega-3 to omega-6 essential fatty acids. Your body is built to have certain things put in it, and it gets sick when you put things in it that it's not supposed to have. Hidden gut infections, high insulin again, and hormone imbalances. So, metabolic causes need to be addressed if you're going to win the battle against peripheral neuropathy, period. And how do we do that? With comprehensive blood work. All right? It is amazing. Now, a lot of you already go, oh, I don't need any more blood work. I've had all kinds of blood work. Oh, my doctor always says the same thing. Everything's normal. All right? Or they say, oh, except for your cholesterol's too high and your sugar's too high, so you need to go on these drugs for that. All right? So other than that, everything's always normal. Well, I'm going to talk to you about blood work. See, have you been told they're all normal? See, lab ranges are inaccurate. Okay? Bell curves are used, all right? So let's talk about what that all means. So when they started coming up with the grading system in schools, they came up with this thing called the bell curve. 20% are going to be above average, 20% are going to be below average, and 60% are going to be in the middle. This is why called grading on a curve means. Maybe that makes sense, all right? But it doesn't make sense when it comes to your labs. See, what happens is every year as people go to get their labs done, that information is sent to an organization, and they average out the labs. So what they do is they say, well, 20% of the people are too high, 20% are too low, and 60% are average. Well, average doesn't mean normal, does it? See, my point of view is these are totally inaccurate because who goes to the labs, right? Now, there's certainly some healthy people that go in, once or twice a year and get blood work to make sure everything's good, and that's a good idea. But the vast, vast majority of people who are getting blood work are sick people. So when you get this bell curve of the 60% of average or, quote, normal, this is normal for sick people. I don't want to be a sick person. I want to be a healthy person. I want somebody to look at my labs to be able to tell me how to be healthy, not just not dead. So when you use these bell curves, it's an average of sick people. See, I use what's called functional lab values. They're more sensitive to reveal problems, all right? I didn't make these up. This is by the Endocrine Society. This is a group of doctors that figured out that this is lunacy to go by labs based upon averages of sick people. So most people don't want to be just not dead. They want to be healthy. Okay. So let me show you how this works. So here you have your 20% too low, 20% too high. Here's your 60% average. Okay. It's in these areas, these yellow areas, that you'll find lab problems that appear normal. So you really need to look at this in a much different way. So for instance, look at glucose right here. So traditional high-low range is 65 to 110. Now, first of all, that's insanity, all right? That's a 45 point range within that range, all right? So give you an example. When you go to put gasoline in your car, right, there's the 87 octane, 89 octane, and 91 octane. Now, you could put the 87 octane in a car that requires the 91. It'll still run. It'll knock and make some noise. But the chemical difference between those things is just teeny tiny bit, the smallest amount. This is huge, 45 points in just that. Just that should make you think this doesn't make any sense. So if you go to your physician and you get a 73 on your glucose, your blood sugar, your physician looks at this and says, hey, you're normal. You're fine. But you go, I still feel terrible. Well, it must be in your head. Here, take this pill for your depression, all right? When I look at 73, my functional ranges are 85 to 100. 15. 1/3 the range that is in the normal ranges. Do you understand the difference? See, now this person has hypoglycemia. This body is not doing its job of using the sugar properly, and it's going way too low. If you have low blood sugar, your nerves aren't going to work right. Your brain's not going to work right. You're not going to work right. So we don't need to go through the rest of these, but this is all the same thing. It's all using functional lab values. So what does a neuron, which is a nerve, need to revive and repair? It needs good glucose, like we said, proper oxygen, no inflammation, good neurotransmitters. Those are the chemicals of your brain, the hormones of your brain that allow you to function and work the way you're supposed to. And you need activation, lots and lots of it. So here's my little exercising brain holding weights, and he's got his running shoes on, or his running shoes on. I couldn't tell which sex the brain is here. So by doing this, by activating the brain, you are able to get it working the way it's supposed to. So much so that there was a study that when you can't feel your feet, what happens to your brain? So here's this study from American Family Physicians in 2010. And, and you're like, well, Dr. Harper, you're a chiropractor. Why are you reading this stuff? Because it's important. It's about people and their health. That's why I read these things. So it said when your brain doesn't feel your feet, when your feet go numb or tingling or burning and all these kind of things, when your brain doesn't feel your feet properly, what happens? Well, in the paper it says loss of balance. Well, I hope they didn't spend a lot of money trying to figure that out. That's pretty simple. But look at this. Memory loss, depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, dementia, insomnia. When you went to your doctor and you complained about any of these things, did they ask you about your feet? Right? Or when you had problems with your feet, did your physician ask you about any of these symptoms? And if they did, they probably didn't associate it with your peripheral neuropathy. See, when I have a patient comes in with peripheral neuropathy, I ask about these things. All right? If they come with their significant other, their spouse, well, how's his or her memory doing? How many personality changes? Oh, yeah, doc, this is really, how did you know that? I get people that are like, hey, are you looking in my window at night? How do you know this? So it's important that we get these things taken care of. See, peripheral neuropathy is a whole lot more than just not being able to feel your feet, or not able to walk right. Memory loss, depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, dementia, insomnia. These are huge problems and affect people's lives dramatically. And these need to be addressed. And they can be. So let's talk about activation. So Harper Natural Health Solutions was the first clinic in all San Diego County to use the HOCOMed, horizontal microcurrent therapy for peripheral neuropathy. This is a machine that was created in Germany, and it was originally made for nerve transplants. Nerve transplant therapy prior to the HOCOMed, less than a 10% success rate. Now, with this, it has over an 85% success rate. A good friend of mine, a doctor in Chicago, he reasoned, goodness, if it's good enough for dead nerves out of a cadaver to be brought alive in a human being, I wonder with the semi-dead, just sick nerves in a human being, what could happen with this HOCOMed. And it's just fantastic. I can't talk about this machine enough. I love it. The HOCOMed horizontal microcurrent therapy, what does it do? Well, it stimulates nerves electrically. It blocks pain. It improves blood flow. It stimulates the nerve biochemically, allows for greater metabolism healing, reduces inflammation locally. Again, get rid of the inflammation. See, there's hundreds of different electrical therapies out there, and some have bioelectrical effects and some have biochemical effects, but the horizontal microcurrent electrical is the only current that has both. It is the best and it is the most state-of-art. When peripheral nerves start to die, they need to be stimulated with the HOCOMed horizontal therapy, and it's the best there is. And we're the only ones, well, we were up until just a little bit the only ones here, but we're the ones that have been using it the longest to the best effect. So what else do we use? Well, we use class 3 low-level lasers, and they're also known as cold lasers. Now, when people hear lasers, they think of, cutting through the metal, or they're thinking of, surgeries where they cut with that. Well, these are cold lasers, all right? We use a very powerful 25-watt laser that pulses. And if you think about water picks, when the first water picks came out, it was just a continuous stream of water, and they actually improved it by making it pulse that would knock out more of the food between the teeth and under the gums. This is the same thing with the pulsing here. With a 25-watt laser that pulses, we can get down in 3 to 4 to 5 inches deep inside. What do lasers do for you as far as the activation? Well, it's a specific wavelength that's been scientifically proven to go into the nerve cells and stimulate energy production inside the neuron, and allows it to heal. Again, something dying is not producing energy. You put a way for that cell, that neuron, that nerve cell, to be able to produce energy. There you go. It's going to start healing. This light also stimulates microcirculation and lymphatic drainage. Why is that important? Well, when you get down to the little tiny filaments, the very hair-like nerves that you have that are the first parts that actually sense things through your skin, they're very small. Well, they need very small blood vessels, capillaries, where only one cell goes through, one red blood cell goes through at a time to give off the oxygen and the nutrition, and to pick up the carbon dioxide and the metabolic waste products. So if your microcirculation is damaged, you're not going to be able to feed those nerves. So it increases the microcirculation. Why do you need lymphatic drainage? Well, the lymphatic system of your body is just like the gutters of your street. If your drains and gutters get blocked up and it rains a lot, it just covers up the street with water. It makes for a dangerous situation. The water doesn't go anywhere. Well, if your nerves are trying to heal and start giving off metabolic waste products, but there's no gutter to drain those away and they just stay right there, well, that becomes toxic to the nerve, and the nerve doesn't have the chance to heal. So very important to have that microcirculation, and very important to have that lymphatic drainage work right. So the effects of the lasers: decrease pain, decrease inflammation. Again, inflammation. Getting the story here, we got to get rid of the inflammation. And we got to increase the tissue growth. So what else is done for the activation and repair? Well, we use vibration with oxygen therapy. So while you're breathing oxygen, you're standing on a thing called a whole body vibration unit. Now, there's lots of those out there. I use a top grade, medical grade whole body vibration unit. You stand on a platform, and there's a computer that randomly moves this around. As it randomly moves you around, it does quite a few things. First of all, it stimulates those nerves in your feet that stimulates your brain. So just like we said, if your brain doesn't feel your feet, causes lots of problems. So now your brain's starting to feel your feet. Stimulate that connection between the brain and your feet. Also, as you're standing there, your muscles are randomly contracting to try and stabilize you. So your back, your stomach, your rear end, your thighs, your lower legs are all contracting the muscles. I have patients that are in wheelchairs and walkers. They can even just sit on it to begin. Or if they can stand on it for like 5 minutes, this is like a 15-minute walk to their body. We've had people in wheelchairs and scooters and walkers, don't need them anymore as they go through my recovery program. And I think a big part of it is because they use this whole body vibration. So what else do we do? Well, we have a take-home PNRT unit. What's PNRT? Peripheral Neuropathy Rehab Therapy. Now, we don't use the socks anymore, but you get a unit with little sticky pads, and you get to take that home. Now, why would you do that? Well, you get daily, it's done daily at home to re-establish the connections between the brain and the peripheral nerves. This is yours to keep, all right, forever. And it's after the conclusion of our treatment program in our office. So it's really important to do this because my goal, unlike most people out there wanting to, do something with you, I want to help you out, and I want you not to have to come back. See, I'm a really good detective at figuring out the underlying cause of your problems and fixing that. I'm a really good doctor to team work with you, to tell you what to do and follow up with that and make sure we give you the right treatment so you can get the results that you want. But the thing I take the biggest pride in is a teacher. And that's what literally doctor means in Latin, is teacher. I want to teach you how to take care of yourself. I want to teach you how to get better. I want to teach you how to not need me or anybody else from here on out. In my near 30 years of practice, I am just shocked at the problems people have finding time to come into my office. Because they open up their calendar and they look, and there's 2-3 doctor visits a day, 4 or 5 days in a week. And I'm just shocked. Why, what is going on here? This is madness. You don't need all these doctors. You don't need to go to the diabetes doctor. You don't need to go to the pee-pee doctor, and then the foot doctor, and then the heart doctor. And it's just it's insanity. Really. Please don't get me wrong. When you need something, you need something. I had kidney stones 10 years ago. Thank God for the hospital and the morphine and the surgery, because that's what I ended up having to have. It was so bad. The kidney stones were so big, stuck in my ureter. So it's really important to understand that when you have an acute problem, hey, United States of America, kidney stones, broken bones, bad car accident, trouble having a baby, heart attack, right here, perfect. Chronic health conditions, it's the worst. It's the absolute worst. Please, listen to me. It's really important that you hear this. You don't need that, okay? You've been marketed to thinking that this is what you do. It doesn't get you well. It doesn't fix your problems. It just makes you a customer, all right? I don't want that for you. I want your time to be your time, right? So I want to teach you how to stay well. And one of the things you do is you get to keep this for the rest of your life. What does this little machine does? Well, it recreates how your brain talks to the nerves. So when you put it on your hands and your feet, your nerves take it as the brain's talking to them again. And what does the nerves do when the brain talks to it? It listens and it reacts. So we stimulate those nerves by doing that. So the rest of the program includes what? Supplementation. You will be taking some supplements to what? Get rid of inflammation. One of them right here is essential fatty acid cream, or EFAC. We use both the cream and the capsules. The capsules obviously you take, and the cream you rub on the areas where you have problems. This way we can get rid of the inflammation on the inside, and we can get rid of the inflammation on the outside. Also, based upon your blood work and other tests that we do, you might be taking other things. You might need to have other parts of your body addressed so we can get you as healthy as possible so you can enjoy life again. See how this all works? So, key points about my talk today. It takes many different things to correct peripheral neuropathy. Not just one thing will do it. That's a farce, a fallacy. It'll never work. Got to address both the metabolic and the neurological problems to have success. Like I said, the brain and the body have got to talk to each other clearly, or they start going down and getting sick. The condition is progressive. It's chronic. And by definition, chronic means it will get worse over time unless the underlying cause is found and corrected. And by definition, you will need more medications, and you will need more medications for the side effect from those other medications. That's what a chronic health condition is. Our peripheral neuropathy program is the most comprehensive and the state-of-the-art that exists in all of San Diego County. I'd like to think in all of the country myself. We have people from around the country that come see me about their peripheral neuropathy problems and other chronic health problems. And I'd like to think that we're the best. And the reason why we're the best is because I'm always improving. Always, always, always improving. So we need, in summary? You got to have comprehensive blood work looking at functional ranges to identify underlying metabolic conditions causing peripheral neuropathy. Got to be placed on an anti-inflammatory diet to heal. Now people say, well, what's your anti-inflammatory diet? I don't know what it will be for you until you come in. See, the anti-inflammatory diet that's healthy for this person is dangerous for this person, and you got to know the difference. This is why, hey, the internet is great. Friends and family are great. Health food stores are great. But every time you go in and say, I got peripheral neuropathy, they tell the same, they give you the same treatment for every person. And that's impossible. I had, in the hundreds of peripheral neuropathy patients that I've helped, not two were the same. Not two. All right? I did not do the same thing for both. Isn't that amazing? All right? So why would it work doing these other things? It won't. Peripheral neuropathy healing and nerve activation being the decompression, spinal decompression, Hockomed horizontal therapy. We got the lasers. We have vibration therapy with oxygen, EFAC cream, and other supplementation. So this is really important. Patients come to me and they go, okay, Dr. Harper, you sure sound like you know what you're talking about. Yeah, you got all these videos of people saying how much better they are and thank you and all that. But how do you know you're going to help me? Well, this is how I know. See, I use a thing called the Peripheral Neuropathy Toronto Scoring Test. When you come in and I do my thorough neurological evaluation on you, all right, not just tap your knees and the pinwheel across your feet and say, hey, you got peripheral neuropathy. Now, that's garbage, all right? I check your peripheral nerves. I check your different parts of the brain. I check your cerebellum. We check all kinds of different things with these little simple tests. None of them painful, by the way. So we're going to have a scoring situation here. I'm going to do a test. I'm going to touch it on your forehead. I'm going to say that's a 10. Now I'm going to do the same thing on your big toe. Now, compared to that, 0 being you don't feel it at all, 10 you feel it exactly the same as your forehead, what do you got? What do you got? Well, okay, 7. Okay, 7. We're going to add up all these tests, right? See, 74 is normal, but if you have an 18 or less, that means the nerve is pretty much dead, and I can't help you. I've only accepted one patient that was less than 18. He begged me. He offered to sign a piece of paper saying that I told him that I couldn't help him, but he said, Doc, you're my only help now. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my feet, literally have them chopped off because they've gotten so bad and the circulation's gotten so bad that they're starting to change colors. So I took care of him, and it was an amazing thing. He did really well. He did really, really well. And I won't probably do that ever again to go against what I know to be true, but I'm really glad in his case I did. So when we do your test, I'll let you know exactly where you're at. So what's next? Hey, got to make an appointment. I can't help you if you just watch this video, put it away, and not do anything. So call and make an appointment. So in the first 2 days, the first 2 visits, what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to do my complete neurological exam. Bring in your labs. If you have lab work, get it. Bring it in. I'll take a look at it. I doubt it's going to be what I need to have done, but it might be, and we can certainly look at it and see what we got to do. Also, before you come in, you're going to fill out some very nosy paperwork. I have this thing called the metabolic assessment form, and you're going to fill this out, and it has all these symptoms, and you scale them on 0 to 3. 0 never, 3 pretty much all the time, 1 or 2 something in between. By doing that and adding up all those scores, I'm going to be able to save you thousands of dollars of labs. See, most doctors just are indiscriminate with the labs. Oh, everybody gets all the same labs because they don't want to take the time to evaluate the patient, to listen to them, and look at invaluable paperwork like this. Well, I want to save you money. I don't want you to be spending all that money on that. I want you to spend it on something fun when you get healthy. So what I want you to do is fill this out. Please fill it out properly, and please, especially guys, don't just race through it and just circle big globs of zeros, because that means you don't care. That means that you're not interested in following my program, and I won't accept you into the program. So take the time to fill this thing out properly. You got to be with your spouse or significant other on that first visit. Why? Because I don't want somebody home that's sabotaging all the hard work that we've done together. If they don't understand why you're coming in the office, if they don't understand why you're having to change your diet, if they don't understand why you're taking supplements, if they don't understand any of these things, it's going to be a problem for you at home. And my attitude is that I am not going to allow somebody to get in that get between me and the patient and cause problems. Because really what happens is that when people quit care in the middle of the care, what gains have been made because the problem's never been fully corrected, the problems come back. And then people blame me. Nobody goes around saying, hey, my spouse was a real pain in the rear end and they chased me out of the office. I went to that Harper guy and it didn't work. All right? See, that's bad for me. So anything that's going to affect your health or my reputation, there's no working on that, no compromise, all right? So significant other spouse. Now, if somebody is housebound or something like that, we certainly can take that into consideration, but, only under certain circumstances. When you come back, if I can accept you into the program, I will review in your case. I'll go over what testing needs to be done. I'll go over the neurological exam that we did the day before. I will go overview of the treatment plan, review the fees. And again, the spouse, significant other needs to be there to hear all this. Now, I know most of you go to your physician and the doctor just stands there and blabs you about what's going to do. You're going to go home with a book about this thick specifically for you. Whatever treatments I'm going to be using for your care is going to be in there. Any research on that, whatever we're using, is going to be in there. What labs are we going to do and why do we need to do that? That's going to be in there. The number of visits, the timing of them, how long the care program is, and very importantly, finances. It'll be super clear, all right? It'll be totally clear about the finances. Now, like I said, you're going to have to think outside of the box. This is something that you're going to have to reach into your pocket for. This is something that you're going to have to pay for. There might be some coverage, all right, but it's going to be very small in comparison to really what you need to do to get well. And, people have the choice. Well, you could just stay in the system that you're in that's not working, or you could do something and have to pay for it that's something that's going to work. My professor used to use the analogy. Insurance a lot of the times is like a bad restaurant that gives out free food. You may go check it out once or twice, but if you got sick every time you ate there, even if it was free food, even if they were paying you to come in and eat the food, eventually you'd say, you know what, this isn't working. And this is my perspective of my patients that see me. I guess some people get better going through that system, but you didn't, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. So if you want to do something, if you want to quit eating at a crappy restaurant for free, if you want to be to the best restaurant you've ever been to, but have to pay for it, give us a call. Be happy to do that. So this is my offer. Because of office time limitations, I only accept 10 peripheral neuropathy recovery patients a month. Typically, my first 2 visits are $450 for all of that. Because you have watched this video and you've seen it or you've been to the workshop as well, I don't have to sit here and explain it all. So I can give you quite a bit of a discount. You can come in for those 2 things for $65, all right? Now, when you call and make the appointment, we will require a payment over the phone. If you're not comfortable in giving something over the phone, you can mail in a payment, or you can come to the office, pick up the paperwork and information, and then you can also make the payment. Why? Because I'm going to put aside an hour for you. I'm going to put aside to do my consultation and exam. When people pay and reserve the time, they show up, all right? If you don't show up, believe me, I get paid a little better than $65 an hour for the kind of care I provide, but we just want to make sure you're going to show up, and so that's why we do that. Now, by reserving, calling in after seeing this video and paying and when you make the appointment, you're going to get 2 days of treatment. So the Hockenmetal horizontal treatment, any of the lasers, any of that you need, decompression, PNRT, all right? Now, really clear, listen to this. It doesn't include any labs, and it does not include any supplements, all right? It'll just be the treatment part only. But this is what I'll include. Now, why would I do that? You're going to get $1,000 worth of stuff just about for $65. Well, I want to make sure this is good for you, make sure I can work with you, all right? You know how I choose my patients? First of all, they're a good qualified patient that has a problem that I am an expert at. Second of all, how well do I get along with the patient? How well do I think we're going to work together as a team? And those are the two reasons that I do this, is that I want you to know exactly what you're doing and what it's going to be like, and then also I want to know how well myself and my staff interact with you. What else do you need for your first appointment? Bring shorts, sweatpants, and a t-shirt. I need to evaluate you from the elbow down and from the knees down, and I need to be able to get to the head. So please bring that. And good thing we're in Southern California, you're pretty much year round, you can kind of dress like that. You got to have all the paperwork filled out, and again, you got to be with the spouse, significant other. If you show up to the appointment late or missing any of these things, we'll just give you back your money and we won't work with you. Why? Because you're not serious enough about your problem. Right? I only want to work with patients who are serious about your problem. Right? You may have been to doctors and they let you do all kinds of stuff, but I do have my for sures in my practice. And why do I have for sures? Because I want you to for sure get better. So commitment and insurance. This is where we're going to lose some of you right here, but that's okay, because I only want to work with the people who are serious. So 3 rules for acceptance into the peripheral neuropathy recovery program. You got to be willing to make changes. You can't keep doing the same dumb things you're doing right now that have made you sick and expect I'm going to do some kind of miracle thing so you can get better. And again, what are those things going to be? I have no idea until we get to the evaluation of your blood work and paperwork. I have no idea. You have to take accountability for your health. If you think it's up to the government, if you think it's up to your insurance company, if you think it's up to me, if it's up to your brother, sister, cousin, mother, preacher, teacher, somebody else, significant other, if you think they're the ones who are responsible for your health and you're not responsible for your health, then please don't sign up. Please, please, please don't sign up. Like I said, insurance and Medicare only pays a very small part of this care if it pays for anything at all. We've made the peripheral neuropathy program so affordable that 96% of our patients who see us can get the care that they need, and they pay as little as $200 to $300 a month for an 18-month program. Now, 18-month program is the payment program. My care programs are 4 to 6 months. Now, patients have said, well, why am I going to pay for something, a year after I'm done getting it? Well, but you're going to get the health for the rest of your life, right? You're not paying for that. You're just paying for the care on time, like anything else. You buy a TV on time, you pay for it, and you get to continue to use the TV. You're going to get to continue to use your body. I think it's funny how people are, is that people will say, gee, I can't afford that, but I can have a cell phone, I can have cable at home, I can have internet at home, I can go on expensive vacations, I can buy cars that are $200, $300, $400 a month, we can go out and eat 2 times a week. I need all those, all right? But I just don't have money for my health. Well, let me ask you something. How many hours a day are you in your car? Not that much, right? Hopefully not. How many hours a day are you in your body? All of them. Okay? If you're so sick, you won't even be able to enjoy that car for whatever time it was during the day. So let's think about reorienting ourselves toward money and toward our health. 6 things to think about. On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious is your illness? How bad is this for you? Where do you see yourself in 3 years? See, I look at it again, it's a chronic condition. By definition, if you don't get to the underlying cause and fix that problem, then you're going to get worse, you're going to need more medications, and then you're going to need medications for the medications you're taking because this problem's worse. How's it affected your relationships, all right? Your work, your ability to enjoy life. Think of Jim having the greatest day of his life, getting back and playing golf for the first time. Not because he was such a great golfer, but because he was one of the guys again. He was in with his friends again, and that's what made him happy. Think of 3 things that you could do if you didn't have peripheral neuropathy. Would you play golf? Would you travel? All right? Would you be able to have a better relationship with your significant other? All right? What kind of magic could turn into that? Could you get a relationship with a significant other so you could get up and be healthy again? This is really important. On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about eliminating your illness? If you're a 7 or less about how serious you are about eliminating this, don't bother. Please don't call me. I'm going to say it 3 times. Please, please, please don't call my office. Because if you're going to work less than 70% to get better, then I have to work 100%, and that doesn't ever work. Right? I want people that are 8, 9s, and 10s. If you are, call us. I'd love to work with you. Due to time constraints, again, I can only accept the people who are really committed. If you're not truly committed, again, don't call, don't sign up. I want to thank you very much. I really appreciate the time that I've been able to share my thoughts, my feelings, my experience, and my joy in what I do and how I help people through our peripheral neuropathy recovery program. If you have any questions, you're welcome to call the office. SoCalNeuropathy.com is our website. You're welcome to check that out as well. The last thing I would just like to share with you is that taking care of patients is the most important thing in my life. Yes, I have a great relationship with a significant other. I have 4 children, I have 4 grandchildren, and they all mean the world to me. But you know, when I go to bed on Sunday night, I never ever go, oh crap, it's Monday and I gotta go to work. What I get to do is I get to thank God for the blessing that I have to have found my magic spot in life, and it's to be able to help people get better and to turn their lives around. And as a little kid, I was always the hero. I was always Superman. I was always Batman. You know, I was always the Lone Ranger. And I love being the hero. I love saving people's lives. And if you just take the time to give us a call and to see if you are a good candidate for our peripheral neuropathy recovery program, I will do the same for you. Thank you very much, and have a real pleasant day.